I am ready for summer, and it is going to be a hot girl summer of romance. Hey guys, Holly J here, aka Planet Ginger, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Today I'm so excited because we are officially transitioning into summer, which means we need to go over our summer TBR lineup. As always, summer TBR lineup means we're saying goodbye to spring, which means I need to tell you guys what I read in the spring and what I actually accomplished versus my last TBR video. And if you missed my spring TBR video, you can always click it up top, but I will also go over what I actually did accomplish in this video right now. We'll start off with series I wanted to continue in the springtime. I wanted to finish up a lot of romance series, and I did get to some and didn't get to others. So first off, we had the Magnolia Parks series. I do have one more book left to read, and that I did not accomplish. The Farseer trilogy, I wanted to read more of that. I also did not accomplish that. The Addicted Calloway series, I wanted to finish some of those. Didn't end up getting to any of them in the spring. Some series I did continue in the spring is Rose Hell. I did end up completing that series. I just had Wildcard to read, and I actually just finished that not very long ago and really enjoyed that book. I'm a big Elsie Silver fan in general. I was glad to complete the Rose Hill series, especially because she has her new Emerald Lake series coming out, which we'll get into in a little bit in this video. Ice Planet Barbarians. I have almost completed all the books I wanted to read. I'm still unsure if I'm going to continue past book 10, but I have read all the way up until book 10 now. So literally the only one I have left is, I think it's called Barbarian Hope. And then I'll see if I want to continue the series after that. The Disney Villain series, I ended up reading one more book in that series, which was Beast Within. And then I decided to end my reading of that series because those books were just not for me. I was really struggling to get through them. So I've decided to DNF that series and just be done after that read. And then the last thing is I read Brimstone, which is book 2 of the Fae and Alchemy series. If you know the book Quicksilver, this is book 2 of that. Did end up reading that. I did enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it as much as Quicksilver, but I will be continuing that series. For new reads in the spring, I wanted to read Red Rising. I did not get to that. I wanted to read the Live Ship Traders series, but since I didn't really progress anymore in the Farseer trilogy, I definitely did not get to the Live Ship Traders books. City of Bones, I wanted to try to pick up, did not get to that. A new cowboy romance, like not including Elsie Silver or Lila Sage, and I did not get to that. I did, however, read Happy Place by Emily Henry, and I did want to accomplish that. So far, I've not been a huge Emily Henry fan. The only books that I've actually completed by her that I've enjoyed has been People We Meet on Vacation and Happy Place so far, and both of those were 4-star reads for me. I'm still kind of feeling out if I really enjoy Emily Henry's writing or if it's not for me. People We Meet on Vacation is probably my favorite of hers. I really did like that book, and Happy Place was a close second. I'm not totally done with Emily Henry yet. I'm kind of debating on reading Funny Story because my sister told me to, but I'm not sure. So anyways, and for rereads in the spring, I had Queen of Shadows, which I did not accomplish. Reread Inkheart, I did accomplish that, and I'm currently reading Inkspell, so we'll be just continuing that series probably in the summer. And then The Ballad of Never After I wanted to reread as well, which again, I am reading A Curse for True Love at the moment, so we're just gonna keep rolling with that series as well, which I will again reiterate in a second when we go over my summer TBR lineup. So for the summer, I am so happy that it's summertime. Summertime is my time to shine. I love the warm weather. I love having a good book and going to the beach or the pool or just being outside to read it. That is how I thrive. So I am ready for summer, and it is going to be a hot girl summer of romance. That is what I have the majority of my 2 reads for the summer. Something about the warm weather and just the happy vibes in general. In summer, I just crave romance. So that is going to be the majority of my TBR that I will go over for my summer agenda. Let's start off with series to continue. I have dropped this down significantly, and I am going to want to focus on Magnolia Parks. I really do want to finish reading Into the Dark. That's the last book I have in that series to read, and I really want to finish it. I think I talked about this in my last spring video, but I think there's a part of me that doesn't want to end this series because I don't have another book announcement in this series yet. So I think I've been resisting it, but I do want to just read it and get caught up on that universe. And the second series I want to continue is the Addicted/Calloway series. I just have 2 more books left and they have been on my TBR for so long. One thing I'm really going to work on in the summer is starting new books, because I feel like I've been working through my series that I'm in the middle of, and I finally am at a point where I'm like, I can take on more books. And so my new reads list is longer than normal, I would say. Actually, before I do my new reads, let me just do my rereads that I want to do, because that list is pretty short as well. And I've already kind of covered them going over my spring TBR list. My first reread that I do want to try to accomplish during the summertime would be Queen of Shadows. The reason why I've kind of put off Queen of Shadows is I knew I was behind on my reading vlogs for my Throne of Glass mini-series. If you haven't watched that already, feel free to go watch it. I will have it linked up top, but only watch it if you are all caught up on the Sarah J. Maas universe, because I do talk very candidly about everything related to Throne of Glass and potentially spoilers for some of her other books. I have been in the middle of a Throne of Glass reread that I have been making vlogs on, and I was kind of behind on editing my vlogs, so I decided to put off Queen of Shadows until I was kind of caught up. Now that I have caught up, I feel like it's appropriate to start that book now. So that will be getting started soon, probably sometime in the summertime. I'm not exactly sure when, but that's my first reread that I want to accomplish. My second reread will be Ink Death, like I said in my other little review section of my spring TBR. I have reread Inkheart, and I'm in the middle of rereading Ink Spell right now. So when I finish Ink Spell, I want to go right into Ink Death. And I have been doing that as a buddy read with one of my friends. I want to just keep that momentum going. So that is definitely on my summer TBR as well, is reading Ink Death. As I've already kind of mentioned too, I am in the middle of a reread of Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I have read Once Upon a Broken Heart and The Ballad of Never After. I just have picked up A Curse for True Love. I think I'm like 50 pages into it so far. So that is also going to be on my reread list for the summertime. Now let's get into my new reads. That's probably the most exciting part. I'm really excited to just dive into brand new books that I have had on my TBR for a really long time. Starting off strong with the cowboy romances, I do have Fever Dream as number 1 on my new reads list. That is the new Elsie Silver book and her new series called Emerald Lake, book number 1 in it. I'm very excited to dive back into the Elsie Silver universe. I kind of want to do a Chestnut Springs reread at some point soon, but I have too many things on my reading list right now. I can't do it in the near future, but that is something I want to accomplish at some point soon. I'm excited to dive into Fever Dream. I've heard really good things about it so far, so I have high hopes for that read. Another cowboy romance that I would really like to get to that I also have heard really good things about is Holding the Reins. That's book number 1 in the series, and it is by Paisley Hope. One booktuber that I follow, she really likes Paisley Hope, and she also likes Elsie Silver as well, but I do want to try to pick up some more cowboy romances, like I said, that are not Lila Sage or Elsie Silver, so I think Holding the Reins would be a good one to start off on. Since it's summer, and since I said, like, we're doing Hot Girl Summer of Romance, I have never read Every Summer After by, I believe that's by Carly Fortune, and I have not read a Carly Fortune book before, and I have heard, originally I was just going to put One Golden Summer on this list, but I actually heard that you should read Every Summer After first and then One Golden Summer. But those two are on my new reads list for the summertime, and I'm really hoping I can get to both of them. One romance that I've had on my TBR for a really long time is A Love Letter to Whiskey. I have heard a lot of good things about this book, but I'm not going to lie to you, the reason why I've been resistant about picking this one up is because I have dove into Candy Steiner books before. Her she had like a football romance series, and I read the first book and I DNF'd the second book because I just didn't think her writing style was really for me. A Love Letter to Whiskey just sounds completely different, and it actually sounds like something I would enjoy a bit better than maybe the sports romance. I do want to pick that book up and I want to give it a shot because it did get a lot of publicity. So that is definitely on my TBR list for the summer. Continuing with the romance again, I want to read Things We Never Got Over. I am not going to lie to you, I have started this book so many times, and it's not that the book is bad, but like every single time I go to start it, I'm like, I am not in the mindset for this book right now, and I end up putting it down. I finally just want to get this book over and done with and read it. I think I will enjoy it. I don't know why. Every single time I pick it up, I'm like, oh, this sounds like something I'd like, and then I start reading it, and then I'm like, oh no, I don't want a romance, and then I usually switch over to a fantasy. I am such a mood reader, which is also why I like doing these seasonal TBR videos videos because it gives me kind of a range of things to read instead of just like sticking to like certain books. I am a big believer in wrong book, wrong time. So I try not to force myself to read things that I'm just not in the mood to read, but I don't necessarily like write that book off. You know what I mean? Talk about sports romances. I would really like to read Mile High, which is book number 1 in the Windy City series. I've heard a lot of good things about this. As far as hockey romances go, I loved the Off Campus series so much. And I've heard some people say that the Windy City series actually tops the Off Campus series. I would be interested to read it and just see what I think, but I do know that people have said the first book is not the greatest. But then I've also heard some people like the first book. I don't know, but I've been hesitant to start them just because I've heard mixed reviews about the very first book, and so I want to be in the right mindset in order to pick that series up. And I do kind of think that this summer might be my time. Another sports romance. I don't know why we're into the sports romance right now, but I feel really left out of this series because everybody talks about it. But Binding 13, I do want to pick that book up and read it. This is another book that I've tried to read a couple of times and it just hasn't seemed like the right time, and so I've sat it down. I think it's just because the books are so big and it just seems like such a commitment to me for some reason, but people say that they're really good and they're easy to get through. And so this summer, I would really like to officially just pick it up and give it its fair chance and see what everybody is raving about for this series. Now getting into the more fantasy style reads, one book that my coworker actually recommended to me, I think she ended up getting an arc of this book. She loved it. She was so obsessed with it and she was like, you need to read this book. She actually finished the book and then immediately picked it back up and started reading it again because she was like, it's so good, is This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me. I have never heard of this author and I didn't really realize that they're actually a couple. You know, they're like co-writers and they're a couple and they write together. So I think that that's really unique in itself. This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me is apparently about, which kind of gives me an Inkheart vibe, but I think it's a girl and she gets sucked into one of her stories that she reads and then she has to like survive it. At least that's what I understand from what I've been told about it. I think this sounds so interesting, and if my coworker loved it this much, I anticipate also kind of liking it this much. So I do want to try to read that this summer. And I kind of like that it's just one book and the second book isn't out yet. So I don't feel like I'm starting a giant series and like, you know, going down this rabbit hole of things that like is a big commitment. City of Bones, I'm gonna still keep on my new reads list. I do eventually want to just read the first book. I never read City of Bones. I know that like a lot of people did when they were younger and then it's like kind of coming back now, but I've never read this series at all. And again, it's been really hyped. So I want to see what the hype is about this series and see if I agree with it or not. I want to be included, guys. I want to be included. I do have City of Bones still on my reading list for the summer at some point. At least if I could get through the first book, that would be great. Then I have Direbound. I think it's more of a romantasy is what I'm understanding from it, but I've heard really good things about Direbound as well. That one's really hyped up. I feel like Direbound sounds really interesting and I would like to pick that up sometime in the summertime if I can. And last but not least, I still have Red Rising on my list. This one will continue to be postponed until my sister can get her hands on the Libby copy of Red Rising because I am planning on buddy reading this one with my sister. So this may or may not get done in summer, but I'm going to throw it on my TBR list for the summer just in case. Yeah, that's kind of the deal with that one. That's my summer lineup. I hope that you guys either got some summer recommendations for yourself or tell me if you've loved any of these books. I really want to know what I'm getting myself into with some of these reads. And summer is my favorite season by far, so I'm hoping to get a lot of reading done. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed. The subscribe button is just down below, and make sure to give this video a like too while you're at it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.